Hi, I'm Alicia and this is What's Cooking. Tonight I'm making a overnight French toast casserole, so let's get started. All right, so to get started, I'm going to mix up our custard, our wet ingredients. If you have an immersion blender, that's really helpful. I'm just gonna use a whisk. So I'm gonna start with our eggs, and we're gonna whisk the eggs up first and then start adding the rest of it. So this year I was going to learn how to crack an egg with just one hand. I work at a bakery, we make custard all the time. So every time I would do it, I would just use one hand. It's a little thing, but I could do it now. That's my goal. I'm gonna learn how to crack an egg. And look, no shells. So again, just gonna whisk this up. All right, and then I've got milk. This is our heavy cream. All right, our vanilla, cinnamon, and like 1/8 teaspoon of salt, our butter. All right, and then lastly, our brown sugar. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and whisk this all together, set it aside while we cut up our French bread. All right, so here I have a loaf of French bread. It's probably about 15 ounces. I cut it down the center. Now I'm gonna cut each half into strips and then into cubes. So since I didn't have any day-old French bread, you could probably bake it in the oven to dry it out. I cut it in half and left both halves sitting out open all day, and then that went ahead and dried it out for me so that I can go ahead and prep my casserole tonight. It just absorbs all that nice custard and all those flavors that we made just a second ago. Every Christmas morning, we would wake up, we would get the kids up, we always read a Bible scripture, talk about, you know, the reason for the season, and then I would come in here and spend hour cooking while my husband and the kids talked and enjoyed that family time, opened presents and played with their gifts. I was in here cooking. I love to cook, so I didn't mind doing it all, but I was missing that family time because we would always do pancakes. And so I decided, you know, what if I just make everything the night before, put it in the fridge, and then in the morning when we get up, I just put it in the oven, and then while we're opening presents, it could be cooking. And then by the time we're done, breakfast is already ready, and I don't have a pile of dishes, and I'm getting to spend all that time. So that's what I did. And it has worked out wonderfully. Everybody enjoys it. We have plenty of food. And more importantly, we get to spend the whole morning or day together. So we don't just have, you know, the French toast casserole. I make 2 other casseroles to go along with it. So it's a complete meal. So each week in the month of December, I'm going to share one of my Christmas breakfast recipes with you. So now we're going to pour our custard all over the French bread, stir it all in there, get all of that bread mixed in, absorbing all of this yumminess. And again, this is going to soak overnight. There will not be any dry bread in here. It'll all soak that all up. So I'm just going to stir it around, making sure all the pieces are nice and coated. Then I will cover it, stick it in the fridge, and then in the morning it'll be ready to top and bake. And as you can see, there's not a lot of liquid left down here. I'm just getting the rest of these pieces of bread that, you know, this one still looks a little dry versus this one that's nice and soaked. So just gonna give that a stir, get it all soaked in there. And overnight, the bread will finish absorbing all the rest of this too. Okay, I'm just gonna lay it out flat. That way it's pressed in there and can absorb it all. All right, so now we're just gonna cover this, pop this in the fridge, and you wanna let it sit at least 4 hours in the fridge. I do it overnight. Great for first day of school also. All right, so now we're gonna make our streusel topping. I'm gonna go ahead and use my food processor to make it. You can do it with your hands as well. So with that, I have my flour, I have my brown sugar, some cinnamon, some salt, and then I've got my cold butter that I've already chopped up. So here you want to make sure that all of it's incorporated. Right, so that process for about like 20 seconds or so. You just want to get it to a texture where it comes together. You don't have any big butter chunks, but it's nice and sandy, comes together, it's all incorporated. So this is what you're looking for. And so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna store this in a container and we're gonna put it in the fridge, and that way when we pull out our casserole in the morning, we already have our topping done. Just sprinkle it on top and then you can stick the casserole straight in the oven. So this casserole has been sitting overnight. It's absorbed all of the liquid. You can see that the dough there's no dry spots. All of it is soaked. So we're gonna grab our topping and we're gonna go ahead and sprinkle this all over it and then bake it off. This is gonna add like a little bit more of a crumbly top. Again, you can add some oats to this, some nuts to this streusel topping. I was able to make this last night as well. No prep work morning. While you're getting ready, opening presents on Christmas morning, your casserole is baking in the oven, making the house smell super good, making everybody hungry, and you've had to do no work but sit there and enjoy your family. Looks nice and all crumbly. Again, it's gonna go in the oven at 350. We're gonna check it at 45 minutes, but it'll be nice and toasty golden brown on top. So in the oven it goes. Ah, it smells so good. It's so fluffy. Love it when French toast casseroles come out the oven. They're so fluffy when they first come out. They do drop, but when they first come out, they're just so fluffy. But you see how it's golden brown. Streusel topping made like this little crunchy crust that's on top, which adds texture, more flavor. It will have some jiggle. It's fluffed. You've got that eggs and the custard and everything, so it's fluffed. And it will settle. But when you push on it, it bounces right back. So just like a cake will bounce right back when it's done, this has no goo. It's not going straight through. It bounces back. All right, so recap, this baked at 350. I checked it at 45 minutes, decided to give it an extra 10 minutes. So my total bake time with my oven was 55 minutes. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes. I'll cut us a slice and then let you guys see what it looks like inside. All right, so now it's cool enough to cut into. As you see, it did sink. That's to be expected. It's nice and soft. It's not dry at all. You can add some butter syrup to this or eat it as is. I'm gonna give it a try. Oh, that's hot. Yummy. It's really yummy. It's nice and soft inside. Lots of flavor. The nice crunch from the streusel on top. The texture's there. I'm probably gonna drizzle a little bit of butter and syrup on it, although it is plenty sweet. See that nice and streusel? The perfect sweetness to complement anybody's Christmas breakfast. It's perfect with a cup of coffee, a cup of juice, hot cocoa, milk. Again, you get that softness from the inside with that little bit of crunch from the streusel on top. So this is going to be a 4-part series. I'm gonna share with you my entire Christmas breakfast menu, including our French toast casserole, an egg casserole, a hash brown casserole, and a wassail drink that you can drink hot or cold. It'll save you so much time, easy prep. So stay tuned, keep an eye out. You don't wanna miss this. So check out our Christmas playlist or click on the links in the description below.